Welcome to the channel. I'm Tony the Technician. Today we're going to be going into another product from Capri, and this is their new ratcheting wrenches. So I've actually had a set of Capri ratcheting wrenches for 6, almost 7 years now. They don't actually have that set available anymore, but I'm going to show that set to you guys compared to the new ones that they've released, the design changes that they went with, as well as a couple other brands of my ratcheting wrenches that I have here at the house, so you guys can see the differences. We'll get a good comparison of them. I'll go over the specs, features, pricing, all of that information. So if you guys have any questions about these new Capri ratcheting wrenches, please drop a comment down below. I'd be happy to help you best as possible. So I'll also have the Capri website linked down in the description, and I'll also try to have them linked. I don't think they're available on Amazon as of yet. In the future, if they are, I will make sure to have it linked down in the description. But if you guys enjoy it, make sure to smash that thumbs up. And if you guys haven't subscribed, make sure to subscribe. Let's go ahead and get into this. So here's the new set of Capri ratcheting wrenches, reversible ratcheting wrenches. And not just that, but these are 120 tooth design. So we'll get into all that here in just one second. I want to quickly show you guys what we're going to be comparing, some of the features and all of that. So I have a few different brands here. I have my Matco ratcheting wrenches. They're non-reversible, straight design. I have my DeWalt 72 tooth reversible ratcheting wrenches, some of my favorite ratcheting wrenches, surprisingly. My gear wrench flex head ratcheting wrenches, and the old Capri ratcheting wrenches. And I believe they had a design after this, but before the one we're going to be looking at today. And then besides those, I also have a couple others just with different open-end designs for anti-slip that I want to show, just so you guys can get an idea of the design that Capri went with versus what some of the others use. So real quickly, let's just take a look at the set. So for the metric set, it is a little bit larger than the SAE set that they have available. I like this coverage. It goes from 8 to 19 without any skips. I like that it includes 8 and 9. A couple of my sets include the 8 and 9, but a majority of your more common sets out there are just going to be a 10 through 19. So it is nice to see those 2 additional wrenches thrown in. Now, not only is it slightly larger than your more common sense sets, but the length is also extended. So these have, I believe, 20% more length than your standard wrench. And I'll show you all that here in just 1 minute. They did go with this like satin matte chrome, which honestly, I see it all the time in other countries. Japan, Germany, Czech, a lot of these other countries use this kind of brushed look or matte look over chrome. And it's not very common in the US to find wrenches with this finish, but lately a few companies have been switching. Capri is now doing it, Tecton is also doing it, and a couple of others. And honestly, when I first saw it, I wasn't a real big fan of it, but I tell you what, I don't know if it's just because it's different or what, but I actually really like it. It's a really clean look, and it may not be for everybody. I mean, it's all personal preference, but I actually really like the kind of matte brushed look to it. So unlike the other Capri set that I have, this is a non-reversible straight. This has a 15-degree angle, so you can get your hand up out of the way of any obstructions. And it is a reversible design. The switch is nice and low profile. It doesn't stick up a whole lot. I was trying to decide between the Tecton and the Capri, and ultimately I decided the Capri is a better set, in my opinion. Not only do I like the reverse switch design better, Tecton, I'll try and throw up a picture, has this big, God, I don't know why they went with that. It's like, I don't know, I don't like that design, whatever they decided to go with. The Tecton one is a 72 tooth, it is standard length, and it doesn't have any open end features. So I just felt like for the money you're getting more for the Capri set. Plus, personal preference, I like those additional features. I'd much rather prefer this reversible switch design. This is a 120 tooth mechanism. It is a very fine tooth ratchet, 3-degree arc swing. See if you guys can see that. The movement is very, very little between each click. 3 degrees is amazing to have, and it is smooth. It is very smooth. Very, very little back drag to that. And I think they've came out with a really nice design. I like the printing on the Capri stuff. It's really easy to read. The stamping is nice and large. It does have the part number on the back side, and it does have a nice chamfer to it for getting on those fasteners. And then for an open end design, you can see just a simple tooth up here and at the base here. And then you have this cut out here. Basically it shapes it to the fastener, which I'll get into that here in just one second. So this is the Matco 8mm versus the Capri 8mm. You can see the additional length there. This is one of my favorite sets, which surprised me because I wasn't expecting a whole lot from them when I bought them, I don't know, 7-8 years ago. And surprisingly enough, they work a lot better than some of my other ratcheting wrenches. It's also one of my only reversible ratcheting wrenches besides the new Capri set. You do got the same angle and a little bit extra length with the Capri. But the DeWalt is just your standard 72 tooth mechanism versus the Capri 120. And then the old Capri set that I have, you can see that. And they've removed the millimeter from the wrench. And the old Capri set is actually a 100 tooth ratcheting mechanism. And I actually enjoyed these ratchets. Now, I really enjoy these because they're reversible. But these all had very little back drag as well and very smooth. But there is a little bit more play in this design here than some of my other ratcheting wrenches. Never had an issue with it, no binding or anything like that. They've always operated how they should, but there is a little bit more play in these than the new design, the open-end design. But Capri has changed it. This is the old anti-slip feature that they used to have. I actually like this. When companies first started doing this kind of V cutout back here for the fastener, I just felt like it was kind of a gimmicky thing, but a lot of them were just, you know, a regular open end with no anti-slip feature, and then you just had this V cutout. Well, I find that when you have an actual anti-slip feature in the open end, that V cutout is there for a very good reason. Not only does it help with those kind of rounded corners to prevent rounding off and to get the fastener biting on the right location. So when I place this in here, the socket lines up in the back, and then that basically lines the fastener up with those teeth up front, which is really going to help prevent rounding off fasteners, and it's going to help grab those fasteners that have already started to be rounded off. So I actually really enjoy this. Without this cutout, they would have had to change or move the design of the tooth on the top and bottom. So I really, really like that design, and it's got a good grip on fasteners, nice and tight. And the box end feels amazing. So like the one thing I didn't like, it wasn't as much of an issue with the Capri. This older design does have a very aggressive anti-slip feature, or anti-slip open end, which if you're dealing with corroded or rusted fasteners, then sometimes an aggressive open end can become an issue because it's really hard to get on some of those fasteners. It wasn't so much the Capri set, but some of my Matco ones had this. And it's really awkward. Whereas it may be hard to see, but like it's still, even though it's got multiple teeth, it's still a fairly straight line. Whereas the Matco, it's not. And sometimes I would run into an issue of getting these on a fastener. So honestly, when it comes to open end anti-slip features, Capri did it right in changing the design. It has the same thing. Now it doesn't have quite as an aggressive V cut in the back, but just enough to get that fastener where it's supposed to be. and then they just have a simple tooth here, 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 and here to prevent rounding. I like that. It's just enough to do the job correctly and help out without being an interference, basically. And Capri has done that very well. So I actually really enjoy, this is probably my favorite design open-end anti-slip feature. I prefer this over a lot of these more aggressive designs that you may find in some other wrenches. Overall, just a quick look at it. Really nice finish. Really simple yet effective anti-slip feature design. Nice large stamping, size stamping on both sides, as well as Capri and the part number. There's hardly any play to that ratcheting mechanism on this new design, and they feel great. Some of these larger ones could probably use a little bit of lubrication, not due to binding or back drag, but just they sound a little tinny, a little dry. And I like the low profile reverse switch. Overall, I think Capri has done a fantastic job on these. I will say they could have probably made that one a little bit shorter, but this is the 8mm. I guess you can't really make it any more low profile without it almost being non-existent. But it is nice that an 8 and 9 were included in this set. Like, the other thing to take away is they are a fairly slim wrench, which I really like, but they're not square cut corners. They're not real sharp or anything like that. I feel like you could apply quite a bit of pressure to these without them being extremely harsh on the hands like some of the other wrenches. Like this Matco one, it does have quite a square cut edge, whereas this has more of a rounded edge. So the other thing that I want to mention real quickly is the EVA foam tray. I get it, it's not for everyone. If it's not your style, simply remove it from the tray. But I will say Capri is one of the only brands, I own quite a bit of Capri, and it is one of the only brands that I actually keep the EVA foam trays. A lot of companies do really bad with it and use up way too much space. Capri does a really good job of keeping everything compact as possible so it doesn't take up too much additional space. Obviously the organizer is going to take up additional space over just throwing your wrenches in there, or having a compact organizer, but I love how EVA foam organizes. So if you have the space, I think it's great, as long as it's not a company that does a really bad job and uses a lot of extra space. But the other thing that I like about the Capri is, besides being compact, is not only is it the foam here, but the top on a lot of their newer stuff has this like plastic coating or layer. And basically what that does is, not only does it help prevent the foam from getting torn up when you go to grab tools or put the tools away, but when you have oil all over your hands or whatnot, it kind of prevents the foam from absorbing that oil or those chemicals. I mean, down here, yeah, it's going to eventually absorb, but whatever's on top, whenever you're, going to grab something, put it away, it's not just going to be absorbing a lot into the top of the organizer. So I do like that coating or layer, as well as how compact they've done on their sets. So that's just a takeaway. I know it's not for everybody, but I do like that with Capri Tools. That is it. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to smash that thumbs up, and if you guys haven't subscribed, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.